What is everybody getting on our butts about for? Like, relax. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Filtered the Podcast. My name is Benita.
My name is Sharon.
My name is Celine.
My name is Rebecca.
And my name's Hannah.
On today's episode, we are going to continue our mental health series that we started last week. If you haven't listened to that episode, what are you doing? Go watch that episode or listen to it. And then come back and listen to this one where we talk about our journeys with mental health and how much we are mentally stable and not emotionally damaged.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, so if you guys have your own journeys that you would like to share with us or you want to be anonymous, you can go on to our Filtered the Podcast Instagram page and directly DM us.
I mean, you can.
Slide in the
use the
DMs.
link and use our link to share your stories. All right, on to the podcast.
So let's just say all of us are how do we say struggling mentally?
No,
How about
I wouldn't
you?
say that.
I'm thriving.
I would say we all go through it sometimes. Sometimes we in our bag. Sometimes we need some help.
I feel like we all have our own like individual stories. Like we all go through different things. Like all of us don't have the same experiences regarding this topic, and I think it's just so vital that that's an important thing to highlight, because I feel like everyone thinks that people go through the same like three things, like anxiety, depression, and what's the third thing?
Stress.
Trauma.
And stress.
Trauma.
Is stress a mental health thing? I don't even know.
It should be a mental health
I
thing.
actually have a question. Do you guys combine stress and anxiety together?
No.
I think stress can lead to anxiety.
Yeah. I think stress is a trigger.
Because I put them as totally separate things. Like I'm stressed about school and I'm stressed about like getting the worship team together, because like figuring out who's singing, like that's what I'm stressed about. But I'm like, when it comes to anxiety, I feel like my anxiety comes from literally nothing. I'll just be sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so anxious. And I'm like,
Oh wait, let's talk about that. Like I'm curious, because that's like not something that I experienced. So when you say it can just happen all of a sudden, like there's no trigger, like you could just be watching TV and then
yes, I will be watching something, or like I'll be sitting there and I'll be totally fine, be like nothing really going on. Like it's summertime, like I have nothing to worry about. I do have to start studying though for my clinicals. Let's not talk about it. But I have nothing to worry about. But like I'll sit here and I'm like thinking about every wrong thing that I like that has gone wrong in my past, like, or like anything that can go wrong in the future. And I just get or sometimes I'm not even thinking about that. I just like, my heart just starts beating and I'm like, I'm so anxious right now, but I have no idea why. Literally, it's so weird.
I agree with them, because like my stress and my anxiety are so different.
Yeah.
Like I thrive off stress, but I do not thrive off anxiety. And like I get anxiety randomly too.
This girl, we are so different.
Why? What are you?
I do not thrive off of stress.
Yeah, I was about to say I never thrive. What do you mean thrive off stress?
Like I need stress to make me need to do something. Like I need the stress, like stress
Be productive.
to be productive. Like I need to be stressed about it. Otherwise, if I'm not stressed, I won't do it. I won't care about it. I won't want to do it. But I feel like the anxiety comes from like other triggers, not from stress. But I also understand where you were like stress and anxiety lead hand to hand. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when I experience anxiety, it's because of my stress. Like if I leave something too last minute, like how you feel productive with stress, I'm like, that gives me so much anxiety where I feel like I will fail everything in my entire life. And then it will lead me to like not wanting to do anything.
So for you, stress and anxiety go hand in hand.
Yes.
Like when you're stressed, you're gonna get anxious.
Yes.
That's me too.
Yeah, I get that too. Like I understand that because that makes sense. But like there's times where I'm like, I'm not even stressed out right now. But I understand about what you're like when you shut down because I'm the same way. Like if I'm too stressed or if I'm getting so anxious, I will shut down. Even if I'm having a conversation with someone, like you can physically see me just like clock out.
But that also happens to me when I'm in like social settings and I don't know how to like be around people. And I feel very like, but that also, I also think of that as a stress though. Like I don't think of it as like, oh, I'm in a social setting. This is causing me anxiety. I think of it as this social setting is a stressor and it's giving me anxiety.
Oh, okay. I guess I understand that. Because when I think of stress, I just think of like workloads and like a lot of baggage and like you have to like do A, B, and C, you know.
Yeah, I feel like stress is defined differently for everybody depending on how you think about it and how you view it. So, yeah, it's different.
That's true. When I'm in social settings, forget about it. I will fake a phone call. I will do anything I have to do
Oh my
to
God, don't
get
talk
out.
about it.
I will do anything I have to do
Mom.
to get out of the situation.
Mom, please call me so I can leave.
Guys, that was so bad. Can I just say a quick story, really quick?
Okay, yeah, you.
Okay, so this happened a long time ago, guys. So basically, I was somewhere where I didn't want to be. So I texted my mom, Mom, call me and tell me you want me to come home. So she calls me, and my volume was on the highest setting. And she goes, What do you mean, call me and tell me you want to come home?
That's
And the person was right next to me, and a little bit I wanted to die. And I was like, Okay, yeah. Okay. I ended the call. She called me back. She was like, What do you mean? I don't get it. And I was like, Okay, I'm coming home right now.
Stop. It's so embarrassing.
That's how bad my social anxiety is. It used to be fine, but COVID, oh my God.
I feel like mine was before COVID.
I think you got really you got better with your social anxiety back. Yeah, you're part of hospitality team for crying out loud. You welcome people.
I think college and like my job that I have really helped me out. But like even now, like sometimes I zone out or like sometimes I'm like I have to go home. But beforehand, like my dad used to like give me an index. My dad once gave me an index card and was like, I want you to write down facts about people that you meet and bring it back to me at the end of the event. Because like I just wouldn't talk to anybody. Or like I'll just be like, Mom, can we go home? Or like I'll go to the bathroom, or like I'll literally just walk around with my sister because like I don't know what to do.
That's
or like
so funny.
yeah, like or I'll like fake a phone call. If someone's talking to me and I don't know how to get out of the situation, I will fake a phone call. Like Hannah, like that I would never want to happen. So that's why I faked the phone call. So one time I walked into a store because we were going on vacation and it was a swimming suit store. What are those things called? Swimsuit stores?
Like a
A
bathing suit.
bikini store.
Bikini store. I went to a bikini store. And I went there and we just walked in and I looked at the price and I was like, it was like a boutique. And I looked at the price and I was like, whoa, yeah, right. I can barely afford $20 bathing suit, you know? And this was like $100. So I was like, oh my gosh. But that was like, bro, she can't know that we left because it's a small store. Okay, it's the size of my room. So they're if we walked in and walked out 2 seconds later, they're definitely gonna be like, yeah, they can't afford it. And I'm gonna be like, nah. Like, I can't do that. So I was like walking around, and then all of a sudden, like Che was like, "Let us go," and I was like, "No, we have to like stay. Like we have to act like we're shopping." And then I faked a phone call, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are at Macy's? Okay, we're gonna come to you." And they were like looking at us, and I was like just acting like trying to find an excuse to leave for like an actual reason.
You should have said, Oh, these prices are too cheap for me. And then you walked out.
I have a question. Do you guys think COVID affected you in a worse way mentally?
COVID definitely affected me negatively. I used to have, and also maybe because I was in high school and then like I went to a college that like was all online. I didn't make any friends, but yeah, social skills down the drain. Not there, non-existent.
No, but I feel like you've gotten better within. I feel like you've gotten better in the last few months. Like definitely.
I'm
Because
forcing
you, like-
myself to go out.
Yeah.
I think COVID, it was different for me actually, because COVID was actually helpful for my mental state. Because during that time, I was in PA school, right? So that hard stop made me like catch a breath, because I had to, like, we didn't get to go on our rotations anymore. So I was basically chilling from when did we stop? March, April, May, and then beginning of June we went back. So for 3 months I got a summer vacation that I didn't get since like 2018.
So this
So
helped you, huh?
that helped me. Oh my gosh, it was the best time of my life. I was thriving.
What about you guys? What was your guys' experience with COVID?
I mean, I was working during COVID, so
Guys, this is our first responder. Everybody, please give us
first
shout.
responder. I wasn't an EMT.
How was all of that? Because was that your first job?
It was my first full-time job, yeah.
So
Um,
what was that? What-
so like literally the day that we shut down, I started. So I worked in the office for a week, and then my second week working, I went to the COVID tents. So all of COVID, I was in the COVID tents. So I don't really. I mean, I met a lot of new people during that time, so I can't really say my social skills were weakened because I had to interact with everybody I was around. But I definitely did have anxiety because I would sit in the COVID tent and I'd be like, I cannot breathe. I don't know if it's COVID or if it's my anxiety. And I would literally have the NPs in my tent be like, listen to my chest and tell me if I'm dying from COVID or anxiety. And they would be like, you're fine. It's just
Wait,
anxiety.
were you anxious about being in the COVID tent, or were you anxious in general?
A little bit about that. I was also, I think that was a time that my amachi was sick as well. And so everybody was like going to see her and I was like, I refuse. I work in a COVID tent. God forbid I have anything. I'm not bringing it to her. So like I had anxiety about like giving it to the people around me, like being around these people who might have it and are like acting like they don't, and like it was a lot. But I don't know if my anxiety like fully stemmed from that, or like I don't know what else it could have been. But it would come on and then I would have the NPs listen to my chest, and then one time he was like, this doesn't sound right, you need to go inside and get an EKG. And I was like, I'm fully not okay. And so my anxiety just got worse after that, but it's fine. Everything's good now.
Look at you thriving now.
Thriving.
How do you guys deal with your stress and anxiety and depression and OCD and whatever everybody else has?
You schedule breakdowns.
Sleep.
You schedule crying times. And
Wait, do you deal with? I actually don't know this. Do you like deal with like anxiety, or do you deal with like the stress? Like how you said it, because you said you don't know what I was talking about.
No, I don't deal with anxiety by God's grace. He like I don't deal with like what like because I know how you described it, and like how you used to get panic attacks, and it would just get so bad like you wouldn't be able to breathe and you don't know what to do,
Yeah.
and like you need like you don't like you don't know where you are, and you just feel like the world is not like on your shoulder,
Yeah.
like like your chest, everything is closing in. I've never to this day had that experience. But remember how Christina Mama in our last podcast, if you want to go and listen to that, she was saying like anxiety and even like any like mental health like illness, it's like a scale, right? Like a person can experience like on one end and like and it be like just very minimum, and then on the other hand it could be just like the worst, like 10 out of 10, like it's like the worst thing possible, right? So I feel like my like issue with anxiety is like on the 1 and 2 side of that scale. Like I only get anxious when I am either like really sleep deprived. Like I only experienced that much anxiousness and anxiety when I was in PA school, and I haven't felt like that since then or before then. And that was because there was just so much things happening in my life at that moment, and like I felt like I just couldn't like take 2 seconds to do what I usually do when I get overwhelmed, which is when I usually get overwhelmed, I just have to like take a hard stop and just reevaluate, like just think to myself and just be like, Sharon, like you're fine, like you need to get it together, sweetie. And just move past it. But I could not do that during that time in PA school just because there was no time to do that. Like when Benita was like, or somebody said scheduled mental breakdowns, that is exactly what I had to do, because like I had to schedule like 5-minute crying sessions and just be like, I don't have time to cry anymore. I need to study. I have an exam tomorrow. Like I cannot be crying, wasting my time to cry. So like that's what I used to do. But before then, like I used to just, if anytime I felt anxiousness, I would just be like, why am I feeling like this? And then try to just be like, oh, it's because of this.
That
And
is
then
so
just talk,
good for
That is
you.
healthy.
talk to myself about it.
That's amazing.
I don't know. I don't know how I learned to do that, honestly. I just like when I was younger, I would just see other people going through it, and I just made a mental note to myself not to ever get to that stage where I like where I had these issues and had to like I don't know how to explain it. I just saw a lot of people going through, and just always wanted to protect my mind, and because I knew like that's like something that I really needed to do, and I just kind of always done that since then.
Do you guys think that, like, you were saying that you were really stressed with school and sometimes work, right? Do you guys think that it's literally an American thing? Because have you guys ever watched Emily in Paris?
Yes.
No.
Literally, the people in different countries, they make fun of us because we like live to work. And like I feel like everywhere else they like work to live. And I feel like I don't know if it's our country or like how we were raised. Like we have so much pressure on ourselves, and I don't want to say cause all this stress on ourselves, but like we react to it differently than other people would.
But I also feel like other countries have other issues. Like I feel like anxiety and like depression is the main factor in this country, but in like those countries, I feel like it's more um like drug abuse. Like they like like different things pop up in those countries because people think like, oh, they're working to live. Okay, what are they really living? Like, and then they're like, oh, am I happy? Like they try to make do so many things to try to just make themselves happy, and they're like, wait, nothing is sustaining this, like for me.
I also think like because America is an immigrant country, like everybody that comes to this country is coming here to succeed.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have this like live to work mindset, because everybody that's coming here is trying to get that better life. And to get that better life, you have to work.
No, I agree because like we have this culture in America where like even in schools it's like so competitive. You want to be the valedictorian or the salutatorian or like that's what you strive to get the highest grades. And if you don't have the highest grades, then you're not good enough. It doesn't matter how creative you are or whatever other talents you have. If your grades are not there, like that's what I hate when people are rated based on their grades, because like people can't take tests. Tests are like you know how people freak out for tests, like you can't just put somebody in a bubble because of
If you don't get an A, you're not good enough. Like,
yeah,
it's so stupid.
and so that like I feel like puts so much pressure and so much stress on like everybody's mindset of like to be the greatest, to get the highest position, get the best promotion, get the best next job.
I feel like that's also like what you were saying comes from living in an immigrant household. Like you think like my parents didn't just come here just for me to flunk this class. But
Yeah.
like we put so much pressure on it. Oh my god. When I fail a test, like it feels like the end of the world to me. I'm like, I can't.
Bro, I
Literally.
remember in high school, it was literally like trigonometry. And I was in the middle of an exam. I'm not even kidding you. I had a full-on panic attack because everybody was done with the exam. They were leaving. I was almost done with the exam. And I knew the answers. I knew I could get a good grade. But because I didn't have enough time, I started freaking out. Full on panic attack, crying, could not breathe, fully hyperventilating. My teacher literally was like, okay, come on, you're gonna sit with me in my office, finish your exam, you will be fine.
In
So
high
literally-
school?
In high school, I was probably like ninth grade.
Oh no.
God.
They're sitting there taking my test, go to Spanish class, still hyperventilating. I have not finished my panic attack at this point. I walk into Spanish class, fully still having my panic attack. I was like, I'll be back. I just need to get myself together. And so I go to the bathroom, finish my panic attack for another 15-20 minutes, and then go back to class like nothing happened.
You know where this all started? Those math minute tests. Why do I need to do 60 questions in 60 seconds?
For real. I honestly think like when people like talk about high school, like yes, it matters very much, but it's like everything is treated like life or death. And I'm like you're
Seriously.
only like even like your one grade in high school is not going to like make you not get into college. You think so deep into everything and you're like, oh my god, like I have to get the good grades. I have to like even now, like honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, my SAT scores and my ACT scores, me and Hannah had took them together, barely studied. And look at me now. We're fine. You know, like it's like, yeah, obviously you have to do like somewhat okay. Like you have to like obviously you want to get like a somewhat okay grade, but you don't it's not like life or death. And I feel like you put so much pressure on yourselves during high
But
school.
Beck, during that time, it's also when you're deciding what you want to do with the next
That's
part
another
of your
issue.
life.
But that's another issue where it's
I
like
know.
you're acting like people are like, oh my god, I have to know what I have to do right now. But like
You're literally 16,
it's so
15,
much pressure to choose
17.
what you want to do at 17 years old. And
I'm
I'm
not gonna lie,
ugh.
that's probably where a lot of my anxiety came from. Like
Honestly,
that
me too.
start is just that's like well, I mean it started before that, but like that's like what increased it, like because it was so much pressure. Like even now, I fully graduated, and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? It's something that I constantly freak out about because like your mindset is like the next steps for working. Like even everybody that comes up to me, it's like, oh, when are you gonna work? When are you gonna start a job? Why didn't you find a job yet? Like that's like what everybody comes and tells you. So like when you have people coming to tell you that, that's what your mindset is at, and that's like what freaks you out more.
And then when
No,
you
I
get to start
agree.
working, everybody's like, oh, this is what it was all about. This is not that great. So what is everybody getting on our butts about for?
You know what
Like,
it is also?
relax.
It's like everyone feels I don't know if you guys can put this out, but everyone feels entitled to know what's going on in your life 24/7. And I feel like you like
Especially
personally,
in
I'm
this
not gonna speak for
community.
yes, I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but personally, like I feel obligated sometimes to like know the answers to the question or like give them the information. But honestly, like if you genuinely think about it, like no one, like even when people are like, oh, what are you gonna do with your life? Like what, like seriously, like those questions sometimes I'm like they're so unnecessary to be asked. Because I'm like only
But
person
like,
that you need to figure it out with is like yourself and like your parents maybe or like with God.
why? Like, can I just say, like, people have asked me those questions, right? And you can just say, like, oh, what's the next thing? I'm like, oh, I have a couple of things planned out, and then we'll see how it goes, and like, and just leave it at that, like, and then just walk
Girl,
away.
you know me. I'm very I will start sweating.
I will start
shut down.
rambling.
I will say my answer, go to the bathroom and cry because I'm like, was that the right answer? Are they gonna like hold me to that? Like it's like many things just run through my brain because of it.
I just feel so
I feel like I've learned not to care. I've taught myself not to care what other people think of me.
Honestly, that's how I'm living right now because my anxiety was because I for the first couple years of college, like I didn't really know what I was doing. But once I started figure out, like everybody was asking me these questions left, right, and center, but I was like, I need to not care about what these people are saying to me and not care so much about my response and not having a response and not having my life together. Like, how am I supposed to figure this out? I'm literally 20 years old. These people can like I don't need to have an answer right
Oh my
away.
gosh, you're only 20 years
Stop
old.
it right now. Bleep that.
You're
Bleep it.
so young.
Exactly.
Henny.
And you expect me to have my life
Henny.
together, right? No.
You're a
Wrong.
baby.
I don't have it together. Okay.
And that is okay. And that is okay.
I feel like we also need to, now that we have that mindset of like, hey, why are these people asking me these questions? We also need to be in the mindset of like, hey, let me not be the person asking those questions too, because I don't want to be the person inducing stress on somebody
It's like
else.
you grow up in the community so much where it's like these questions seem so
Yeah, they're
normal.
like
So you're
ingrained
just
in
like,
you.
oh, these are the questions that you have to ask because, you know, small talk. But it's like you can talk about anything. What's your favorite show?
Oh my god, I did that today. I asked someone where they were going to college and I don't think they had an answer, but they responded in a way that made it seem like they couldn't hear me. So I asked it again, but they
Oh,
genuinely
no.
didn't know. I felt so bad.
Oh,
I
no.
felt so bad. And then I walked away. See, this is why I don't go out, guys. This is why I don't go out.
What else do you guys do to help you relieve your stress? I feel like we went way off that question, but we should like go back. Let's land back on that question. What else do you guys do to help relieve your stress?
Relieve stress.
Or like, do you have any techniques that you use, like breathing, journaling, therapy, listening to specific types of music? I don't know.
But I actually go to therapy. I started that in August of 2020. Um,
Wait, you started August 2020?
yeah,
No, you didn't.
yes, I did.
I started before you then.
No, you started after me.
That was only 2020.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's been a long few years.
So clearly, me and my sister go to therapy because we have a lot of issues. But I think that's actually helped because it was just an outlet where you can just talk and nobody judges you. And if you do have a therapist that judges you, find a new one because they're not supposed to judge you. But I'm just saying. But I think that really helped because she would give like techniques on like ways to relieve like the different things that I was going through or the different issues that I had to deal with. And it was just like also a place where I need sometimes to like spit out what I have to say. Like not what is it called? Not spit out, like
Just rant.
yeah, I need to rant because I'm a talker and I need to talk out my thoughts. Like that's why I talk to myself a lot because it helps me process and like just helps me like process and stuff. So like I think another thing that I learned was like count the five senses. And so like that helps you calm down and think about something else than what's happening in your situation. Has anybody heard of that? The five senses?
No, can you expand, please?
So it's like you have five senses: sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. So it's like five things you can hear, four things that you can feel, three things that you can smell, two things that you can taste, and one thing that you can see. Or like it can switch it up, but it's like basically distracting your brain from what's happening in your current situation and you're thinking about those five like
Yeah, you're thinking of those five things instead of
Yeah.
actually thinking about what you're thinking. Yeah. For me personally, as you all know, I also go to therapy as well. I started also in 2020, I think, right? Yeah.
a couple months after me,
Yeah, I started in 2020 as well, for anxiety and my social anxiety as well. And there was like a bunch of things going on in my life, and I thought therapy would be nice for me. And I actually talked to my mom about it, which I know is very hard for some people to open up to their mom, but I got lucky to have a mom that was like open about it in our household. So she was able to find me a Christian therapist. And honestly, it's really helped a lot. And for me, how I deal with my anxiety, sometimes honestly I just like I'll be anxious, and I know this is a horrible thing to do, but I'm like, oh god, I'm so anxious. You know what, I'm going to therapy this week, I'll talk about it then. And I'll be like, okay. It's like that's how kind of I like ease myself, which is also not the greatest, but like in the beginning that's like kind of how I got through it, knowing that I was able to like let it all out like in a few days. But my therapist like has tried the breathing stuff with me, but for me like it doesn't work as well, because like I know so, like for some people and for you probably, Jay, like it helps you, but for me like I can't like calm myself down when I'm anxious, because I completely like shut down. Like I can't like think, I won't be able to think of the five things. Like I just like completely like nothing in my brain is working anymore really. So what really helps me is like writing. Like that's what I've learned, like because sometimes when I'm like um writing, like it's what I've learned is when I'm writing, it's sometimes I don't even know what it is I'm thinking in my own brain. So a lot writing allows me to like
To get what you're thinking out on paper.
yes, because I don't even know what I'm thinking sometimes, because like how I was telling you, like I get anxious at the most random times, and sometimes I don't know what it's caused. So when I'm writing, like I kind of can like look back at it and be like, okay, maybe this is why I was anxious, because I have like new things that I'm seeing on paper. Also like what Sharon Prasad was saying before, and how she kind of like learned it on her own, amazing to you. You should have taught me this much earlier. But I do like sometimes if I'm getting anxious, I'll be like, and I know what's causing it, I will talk myself through it in the aspect of being like, okay, well, why does it matter? Because I tend to like overthink sometimes and like care too much about what people say. And my therapist has taught me like, does their opinion really matter to you? Like, is it really going to affect you in the long run? Are you really not going to get the job you want because someone said this one thing to you? Are you really not going to, you know, accomplish anything in your life because one person was like, why do you look like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I've like learned to talk myself through that way, where it's like, okay, what did this person say? Why am I hurt by it? And am I not gonna be able to drive my car to the store because they said this to me? Like, you know, like I just like walk myself through it in a way that I'm like, you need to calm down. Like you're like overthinking it. Like it doesn't have to be that serious. So I think that really helps me. Anyone else?
Yeah. No, I think those are all like great ways to like come back. And especially because again, we said that people have varying ways of experiencing things. And I feel like for me personally, like I remember like at church retreats, people used to give examples about how they experience anxieties, and they would be like journaling and doing this, doing that. And I'm like, and I tried that, and I promise you, I felt like journaling just gave me more anxiety, because I'm like, is this grammatically correct? Spelling this word wrong. I'm so dumb. I felt like it wasn't like for me. So that's why I was like, I need to just talk to myself and rationalize. And sometimes you can even like dance it out. I'm just saying, like, just
Oh my god.
get
Do you dance
get
it
it
out for
out.
real?
I do. I don't do. It's so funny. Like people like I'm more reserved in public, but I get my energy out when I'm by myself. Like ask my sister. Like I like yell. Like I just randomly yell during the day sometimes, and then I just like randomly dance, and that's it. And then I'm back to a normal person
Oh
in
my god,
public.
like Meredith Grey and Christina.
I think that's where I got it from, honestly. I
No
watched that
way.
show when I was
Wow, that
younger.
show has
Yeah.
so many levels.
We got our second Grey's Anatomy
Reference.
reference.
I just want to say, like, guys, isn't it weird? Like, we actually didn't really talk about our own mental health with each other until like recently. Not recently, but like, you know.
No, I think we did it in different ways, because remember when we used to go to like each other's houses, and then we would just sit down and go in a circle and be like, what did you guys use? What do you guys think? And like we talked
We
about
would
different
literally go
topics.
through each person and be like, what's going on in your
What's
life?
going on in your life? But I'm saying like we weren't asking what's your mental health,
That triggered
but
a memory that I totally forgot we've done.
In my TV room area.
Yes, yes.
No, but I think we did it in varying ways. And I feel like we just adapt.
I think we got better at it.
We
We
do.
used to not tell each other. Like, okay, yeah, you keep some things to yourself, but there were some points where some of us would go MIA or sometimes like that. And like, I feel like we're better at checking up on each other. And
Yeah.
I think
I
I used to
agree.
do that. I think I got better at like sharing what I'm experiencing and thinking. So what would you say to your younger self? For all of our younger listeners out there, like what would you tell them if you could tell them something?
I would say go to therapy earlier. I'm just kidding. I would say, I don't know, talk to people more about it, or like be a little bit more honest, because I feel like sometimes, especially when I shut off, I try to still stay positive, like not stay positive, I still try to act like I'm okay. I'm like, yeah, guys, yeah, let's go out to eat, but like I'm dying inside. So I feel like being a little more honest, being like, hey guys, like really, like right now, like my brain is all over the place and I need some help. So I think
Yeah, I think people just need to realize like you're not in this life alone. Like the people around you want to see you succeed and want for you to live your best life. And if you're thinking, "Oh, I'm only burdening these people with talking about what's going on in my life," it's not going to help anybody. It's only going to make you feel worse. So if you just take that step to open up about what's going on in your life with the people around you, with the people that love you, it will only be beneficial for you and for your relationship with those people. So you just need to be open-minded and think like, hey, these people are in my life for a reason. I need to be open with them and talk to them vulnerably.
I think that's a really good one.
Yeah, I would like to add to that, like I personally, I would put on a front every single day, and everybody thought I would always be fine. Like nobody actually really knew who I was or who I am, and I would put on this facade. And so like be you. Like that sounds so cliche, but like even if you're like sad or whatever, don't hide it. Don't suck that emotions like back in. Like don't push it down, because you need to actually face what you're dealing with, because it'll come back and like become worse and build up into something like far greater, in a bad way, not far greater
This
in a
this thing of like this thing of like being a tough person will only get you further in life. No, it will not.
yeah.
It
yeah,
will only deteriorate how you feel and how you
yeah,
discuss your emotions. So being who you are, like genuinely and like what's the word I'm looking for? Authentically being yourself is going to benefit you in the long run. So being sad around people and wanting to cry is not a bad thing. Like be vulnerable, be authentic. That is going to bring you further in life than you acting like everything is great and you are
yeah.
such a tough super woman. Like no, be
No, for
you.
real. I think the best advice that I've ever gotten is really short advice, because like this is what I always play in my head. It's like feel every emotion that you have. If you're sad, be sad. Like if you're happy, be happy. Like don't let anyone be like, oh, you're too happy right now, or like you're too sad
Yeah.
right now. Like if you're angry, be angry, because otherwise, if you try to hold in that anger, it's gonna come out to someone else or in another situation, and it's just going to like just be a terrible situation for everybody. So if you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. Just let yourself feel every emotion that you're going through. Otherwise, it's just not going to end well for anyone, and you're just going to be holding and bottling that up in.
I feel like my one advice would be like don't take yourself too seriously. I feel like people nowadays think that they have to be put together 24/7. And like and I'm talking specifically to the younger people, like in like teenagers. Like, come on, be 15, be 16. Don't think you have to like be all proper and like, you know, feel like you give yourself the ick. Do you, because you can only be young once. So just do it. Who the freak cares?
And if someone cares, then they're not supposed to be in your life. Sorry.
oh,
If
you
someone
guys
makes you
say
feel
this
like that.
now. I was be me.
I missed that stage of your life.
And you guys always bring it up.
We miss it. We
Yes,
loved
because we
it.
miss that,
We
Hannah.
loved you at your
I wanted that
authentic
braid
self.
on my head, Hannah. I wanted to be you. I
Guys,
wanted
my
that big.
forehead was just so large. I had to cover it with the headband. Okay,
Stop.
that's why I wore it.
Don't make me giggle.
Okay, well, thank you guys for listening to this week's podcast. If you haven't already, follow us on Instagram at Filter the Podcast. We're on all streaming platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We do have a link in our bio from last week's mental health episode with resources to therapists and other resources that you might find helpful in your mental health journey. If you want to share again and be vulnerable with us, we are happy to hear from you. We do have an anonymous Google form that you can fill out, or you can just send us a DM. We're happy to listen to
Slide
you.
into our DMs, guys. Slide
Go
it.
down in the DM.
But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Family pops.
Jesus loves you.
God bless.
And we love you.
We love you, besties. Good. Bye.